Welcome to episode 13 of Rise of a Nation. This episode is on Haiti.
Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be talking about Haitian history.
Right.
And we're going to be going through a kind of chronological explanation of their history with a political focus.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting.
I think so too.
We're going to try to hit all the major things, all the big events, all the big political shifts.
Yeah.
And going all the way from
The very beginning.
All the way to the current day. So to start off, let's talk about the island of Hispaniola before European arrival.
Okay, yeah. So the island of Hispaniola was actually not empty when the Europeans showed up.
Oh, yeah.
It was inhabited by the Taino people, and they were organized into 5 chiefdoms.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that it was that organized.
Yeah, and they had their own political and social structures.
Yeah, so it wasn't just like random people hanging out on the island.
No, they were.
I mean, I guess that makes sense.
They were.
It's an island. They're kind of all together.
Yeah, they were sophisticated societies with their own forms of governance.
So what happened when the Spanish, obviously Columbus arrives at Hispaniola. Was that their main focus, though?
Well, yeah, it was their first site of colonization in the Americas.
Right, yeah.
But, gold makes people do crazy things.
That's true.
And it drew them to Central and South America where they found, more riches.
I see.
So they kind of left Hispaniola as like a secondary hub for trade and resupply.
Makes sense. That kind of created a vacuum, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, if they're not really paying attention to the island so much anymore, who steps in?
Well, that's when the pirates came in.
Oh, yeah.
The French and English pirates started to, challenge Spain's control in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And so the Spanish just kind of gave up on the western third of Hispaniola. They're like, all right, whatever.
Oh, wow.
And they just focused on the eastern 2/3.
So that's where we see the French really start to make inroads.
Yeah, the French buccaneers.
So are these like state-sponsored pirates, basically?
Basically, yeah, in a lot of cases, yeah.
Ah.
They saw that nobody was really there.
Yeah.
So they were like, all right, we're taking it.
They took advantage.
And Bertrand d'Ogeron, he was really instrumental in this.
Oh, okay.
He started cultivating tobacco.
Wow, so they're really setting up shop.
Bringing in French families from other islands, starting to build a colony.
That must have made the Spanish pretty mad eventually. I mean, they can't just let the French take over like that.
Yeah, no, they weren't too happy about it.
It seems like it was kind of inevitable that they'd have to deal with this formally, right? They couldn't just pretend it wasn't happening.
Right, yeah. So eventually they came to an agreement,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the Treaty of Ryswick in 1697.
Okay.
They formally divided the island.
Oh, wow.
And Spain officially gave the western third to France.
Wow. So that's really a key turning point, right?
Absolutely.
Because now you've got this dividing line on the island.
It set the stage for the 2 nations, Haiti and the Dominican Republic.
So that's the origin of that.
Yeah, it all goes back to that treaty.
That's incredible. So on the French side, they call it Saint-Domingue.
That's right.
It becomes this hugely profitable colony for France, largely on the backs of enslaved Africans working on these sugar plantations. It's a brutal system.
Yeah, it was a really brutal system.
But meanwhile, the Spanish side, Santo Domingo, it doesn't really see that same level of economic growth.
No, they kind of lagged behind.
Why is that?
I mean, the French were really focused on exploiting the land.
Yeah.
And the enslaved people.
Right.
For profit. I mean, sugar was like the oil of its day.
I see.
It was a huge commodity.
It's interesting how that dynamic plays out, right?
Yeah.
You've got these 2 colonies on the same island.
Yeah.
And one is just booming while the other is kind of stagnant.
Yeah, it's a pretty stark contrast.
So then you have this really interesting period where these Enlightenment ideas about liberty and equality start to spread.
Right.
And they reach Saint-Domingue.
Yeah.
And that's when you see the Haitian Revolution begin.
Yeah.
This wasn't just any colonial uprising.
No, this was something different.
This was huge.
Yeah, it was inspired by the Enlightenment.
Oh, wow.
And it was a massive revolt of the enslaved people.
I mean, this is the only successful slave revolt in history.
Right.
That led to the creation of an independent nation.
Yeah. It's an incredible story.
Yeah, the Bois Commons ceremony is usually seen as the start of this whole revolution.
Yeah, it's a symbolic start.
So you have this guy, Toussaint Louverture. I mean, what a figure.
Yeah, he's amazing.
A formerly enslaved man himself.
Yeah.
Rises to lead this fight against, you've got the French, the Spanish.
Yeah, the British too.
They're all involved, right?
They all wanted a piece of the pie.
Wow. So how did they actually manage to pull this off? I mean,
Well, Toussaint Louverture was a brilliant military strategist
okay.
and a really smart politician, and he was able to use those Enlightenment ideals to his advantage.
I see. So he's using their own ideas against them.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And then you have other leaders like Dessalines, Pétion, and Christophe.
Okay.
They all played crucial roles.
So it's a team effort.
It was a real team effort, yeah.
They had some advantages too, though, right? Like the terrain of Haiti.
Yeah, the mountains definitely helped.
And then the diseases.
Yeah, yellow fever was a big factor.
Wow. I mean, it's incredible that they were able to defeat these major European powers.
It's a testament to their determination, yeah.
And the Battle of Vertières in 1803, that's kind of the turning point, right?
Yeah, that was the decisive victory.
And then in 1804, Haiti declares independence.
Yeah, the first Black Republic.
The world's first Black Republic.
In the Americas, it was huge.
That must have just sent shockwaves throughout the world.
Oh, yeah. It challenged the whole idea of slavery.
It's really a turning point in history.
Yeah.
Jean-Jacques Dessalines becomes the first leader.
That's right.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing from there, was it?
No, unfortunately not.
They had some internal struggles after independence.
Yeah, building a nation is never easy.
And they actually split into two separate entities,
Yeah.
the North and the South. What happened there?
Well, there were big disagreements about how the country should be run.
Okay.
And Dessalines' rule, it was pretty short-lived.
Mm-hmm.
And after his assassination, the country just kind of fractured.
So you have the North becoming the Kingdom of Haiti under Henri Christophe.
Yeah, he later crowned himself King Henri the Past.
Wow, a king in Haiti.
Yeah, it's an interesting part of their history.
And then the South forms a republic centered in Port-au-Prince, led by Alexandre Pétion.
Yeah.
So you have two very different systems emerging.
Yeah, one's a monarchy and one's a republic.
And I believe their approaches to things like land distribution were also quite different.
Yeah, Christophe was more about centralizing power
Okay.
and rebuilding the economy, while Pétion was more focused on distributing land to the formerly enslaved people and the peasants.
So it's kind of a class divide in a way.
Yeah, you could say that.
Interesting. This division wasn't permanent, though, was it? Haiti eventually reunified, right?
Yeah, thankfully it did.
How did that happen?
Well, after Pétion passed away, Jean-Pierre Boyer took over as president in the South.
Okay.
And then when Christophe died in 1820, Boyer was able to unify the whole country.
So it was through a succession of leaders.
Yeah, one leader after the other.
Interesting. So Boyer is now in control of the entire western side of the island, and then he sets his sights on Santo Domingo.
Yeah, he had this vision of a unified Hispaniola.
But wasn't it more than just that? Weren't there also some factions within Santo Domingo that were actually pushing for unification with Haiti?
Yeah, that's right. Some Dominicans looked at Haiti's successful revolution and saw it as a model.
Oh, wow.
They preferred joining Haiti over other options, like aligning with Gran Colombia.
So there was an internal push for this.
Yeah, it wasn't just Boyo imposing as well.
So in 1822, Boyer invades and occupies Santo Domingo, and Haiti now controls the whole island. What was that period like for the Dominicans?
Well, it brought some significant changes.
Yeah.
For one, slavery was abolished.
Oh, wow, that's huge.
Yeah, the Spanish had actually reintroduced it for a while after the French had control.
I see.
But Boyer put an end to that.
That's a major change. But it wasn't all positive, was it?
No, there were some downsides too.
Like what?
Well, Boyer's government took over a lot of land.
Oh, so land expropriation.
Yeah, and they also put restrictions on the Spanish language and Dominican culture.
Oh, I see. So that must have created some resentment.
Yeah, a lot of Dominicans felt like they were being oppressed.
It's kind of understandable, right? I mean, they just got rid of slavery, but now they're facing this new form of control.
Exactly. It was a complicated situation.
And that eventually leads to the Dominicans fighting for their own independence.
That's right. In 1844, they launched a revolt.
Okay.
Led by Juan Pablo Duarte and his group, La Trinitaria.
And they're successful.
They took back Santo Domingo.
So that marks the end of this unified Hispaniola.
Yeah, the island was divided again, and this time it was permanent.
And the border that we see today, that's basically the one that was established back then.
Yeah, it goes all the way back to 1844.
Wow, that's a lot of history. So let's jump ahead now to the early 20th century.
Okay.
Haiti goes through this long period of U.S. occupation. What happened there?
Well, Haiti was going through a lot of political and economic instability.
Okay.
And the U.S., they were worried about German influence in Haiti.
Oh, I see.
They didn't want any European power getting a foothold in the Americas, especially in their backyard.
So they saw it as a threat.
Yeah, and they invoked the Monroe Doctrine.
So in 1815, the U.S. sends in the Marines.
Yeah, they occupied Haiti for almost 20 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
It was a controversial move.
What were they trying to accomplish with this occupation?
Officially, they said it was to restore stability,
Okay.
manage Haiti's finances, and prevent foreign interference.
But it wasn't that simple, was it?
No, it wasn't.
There was a lot of resistance.
Yeah. The Haitian rebels, the Cocos,
Okay.
they fought against the occupation.
And the U.S., they were pretty brutal in their response, right?
Yeah, they implemented forced labor, the corvée system,
Wow.
and there was a lot of racism and discrimination.
Some people even say they were basically imposing Jim Crow laws.
Yeah, it was a dark period for Haiti.
So when did this occupation finally end?
In 1934, under President Roosevelt's good neighbor policy,
Okay.
the U.S. finally withdrew its troops.
But their influence didn't completely disappear, did it?
No, they still controlled Haiti's finances until 1947.
So even though they were gone, they were still pulling the strings.
Yeah, you could say that.
And then you have this whole period of the Duvalier Dictatorships.
Right. Papa Doc and then Baby Doc.
This had a huge impact on Haiti.
It really did.
So Papa Doc comes to power in 1957, and he rules with an iron fist.
Yeah, he was a ruthless dictator.
He had this private militia, the Tontons Macoutes.
Yeah, they terrorized the population.
Yeah,
It was a reign of terror.
absolutely.
But he also presented himself as a champion of black interests.
Yeah, it was a strange mix.
And he used voodoo to solidify his power.
Yeah, he created a cult of personality.
And corruption was rampant.
Oh yeah, it was everywhere.
But somehow he still managed to get support from the U.S.
Yeah, because he was anti-communist.
That's wild.
The Cold War made for some strange bedfellows.
And then his son, Baby Doc, takes over.
Yeah, in 1971.
Was it any better under him?
Not really.
Same kind of stuff.
Yeah, corruption, neglect, repression.
Oh, wow.
He just continued his father's policies.
And then there were some really devastating crises during his time.
Yeah, the HIV/AIDS epidemic.
And the swine fever outbreak, right?
Yeah, they had to kill all the pigs.
Wow, that must have been devastating for the
It was a
farmers.
huge economic blow.
And people were getting fed up with the extravagance of the ruling class.
Yeah, they were living lavishly while the people suffered.
And then Pope John Paul II comes to visit.
Yeah, that was a big deal. In 1983, and he basically calls for change.
Yeah, he said things needed to improve.
That gave a lot of momentum to the opposition.
It did. People were inspired by his words.
And eventually, Baby Doc is overthrown.
Yeah, in 1986.
So that's the end of the Duvalier era.
Yeah, a long and dark chapter in Haitian history.
But it's not the end of the story, is it?
No, the relationship with the Dominican Republic is still a major factor.
Yeah, and that border, we talked about its origins.
It goes back to the colonial division.
And there's been a lot of tension over the years.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Dominicans have discriminated against Haitians.
Yeah, there have been deportations and even violence.
And the economic disparities are really stark.
Yeah, it's a complex and often difficult relationship.
So we've covered a lot of ground here today.
We have.
It's been a journey through Haitian history.
From colonialism to revolution to dictatorship
It's a story of resilience,
and struggle.
and it's still unfolding.
Yeah, the future of Haiti is still being written.
We hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of this fascinating and complex country
I hope so too.
and the challenges it continues to face,
It's a country with a rich history.
and a lot of potential.
Yeah, that's so.
So that's it for today. Thanks for joining us,
Thanks for having me.
and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you for watching episode 13 of Rise of a Nation. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe for more. Write in the comments what country's rise you would like me to cover next.